then maybe we shouldn't throw that way. Maybe let's go. And again, the earlier that you can get to this and teach that, the better. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get in the ear of the younger kid, the younger parent, with the book. And then hopefully that will lead to other questions or them trying to get more information about what their objective should be to be a successful pitcher or any kind of athlete. Like it's very hard to win at any sport if you're not aggressive, if you're not trying to compete against the other person in front of you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Clearing the Bases, the podcast where we step up to the plate and dive deep into the world of youth baseball. I'm your host, Jimmy Filangieri. You know, on this show, we discuss all things related to the preparation and development of youth baseball players, coaches, and yes, even parents. So sit back, settle in, and get ready to hear from some of the greatest baseball minds out there.
I think it was just realizing that regardless of how old you are, you can, well, especially the younger ones, they can change easier. And it's a lot harder to change someone who's 15, 16 years old, especially because now it is about velocity at that age. You know, that's the one metric that's very easy to understand and to see and to notice is the radar gun. And I'm not even saying that the radar gun should be thrown to or everything you do should be about velocity, but when you are doing things correctly or aggressively, then that's the result.
You know, to be able to reach the highest levels of this game, yeah, you got to work hard. You got to get in the cages. You got to do your strength and conditioning. You know, you got to throw your bullpens. There's all of this physical stuff that you need to do, and you need to work hard at it. But don't forget that you also have to get better at the mental side of the game. And one of the ways you can do that is increase baseball IQ by downloading and using the Six Tool app.
For baseball coaches like you, every game brings measurable progress. However, game time isn't the time for trial and error learning. Instead, have a proactive approach. Use Six Tool, the best baseball player development tool on the market. We provide a platform to level up your coaching strategy by helping you to quickly identify and address your players' knowledge of the game. By using our easy-to-implement interactive player quizzes, you can assess position-specific issues, overall baseball IQ, and much more. Win more games and develop better overall baseball players with effective off-the-field training. Visit us at six-tool.com. Six Tool. Get ahead in the game.
Okay, everybody, today on Clearing the Bases, we're joined by a coach who has become one of the most trusted voices in player development, Andy High of Coastal Athletics in Wilmington, North Carolina. Andy is the Director of Player Development at Coastal, which is one of the region's premier baseball training facilities. And what's really cool is that Andy just wrote a book, just came out, called Baseball Lessons for Life. I read the book cover to cover. Great book full of great stories. He's built his career around a simple belief. Great players are developed through great relationships, which, again, you know we talk about all the time, and intentional training, and an unwavering commitment to fundamentals. We talk about the rudiments all the time. Fundamentals are so important. He blends modern tools with which I need help with, but he does. He blends modern tools with classic baseball wisdom and has a true gift for meeting athletes where they are and helping them unlock their potential. Today we're going to dig into his coaching philosophy, the Coastal Athletics approach, his book, and the challenges and opportunities in the current youth baseball landscape. We'll talk training, communication, coaching standards, how to build a developmental environment that truly puts players first. So, like I always tell you, buckle up. This is going to be a good one. Welcome to the show, Andy.
Oh, thank you very much, Jimmy.
I'm glad that we finally got together. I mean, we've been going back and forth for a couple of weeks, and I had to cancel on you. So this is great. I'm
Yeah, I
looking
didn't
forward.
appreciate that too much, but it's okay.
Oh God. So, all right. So let's jump into a little bit about your background. You know, what was your journey like? How you got started? What inspired you to pursue where you are now?
Let's see. Going back a couple of years. I mean, just everybody playing at such a young age, I just fell in love with it. I was a three-sport athlete in high school. Basketball, baseball, and soccer. Soccer was just pretty much something I did because my other buddies did. But basketball and baseball were the loves, especially early on. I mean, basketball you can do on your own, especially back then. You just had a hoop in your backyard, and I would shoot forever. I would pull the car or truck into the backyard, put the spotlights on. There were many times where we had to jump it because I just ruined the battery went dead. But and baseball, it wasn't like that. Like you always had to have somebody else there, which was fine. I'm part of a big family. I have three brothers, two sisters, and a father who actually coached my two brothers and myself later on. Left-handed pitcher, 6'4", 6'5", and had a decent career in high school here in North Carolina. I got a scholarship to go to Campbell University, was there for 4 years, went in throwing 78 miles an hour, came out throwing 82. And back then it was all about strikes. It was all about this is a very new phenomenon of everybody now should be throwing harder. I agree with it, trust me. But when I was growing up, it was, the games were slower when you were walking guys. The games moved a lot faster. Let them hit it. Let them hit it. So I didn't develop that sense of being aggressive until I got to pro ball. So I went undrafted. There was no reason for them to draft me. Throwing 82, 83. So I played 6 years independent ball, got my velocity to the point where I could compete. Let's see, I had a ridiculous year with Atlantic City. I think by the All-Star break, I was 9-2.
Wow.
Got picked up with the Brewers, went to their AA, and was just amazed by the athletes I was competing against. They all were very good. They were all over the place. Had ridiculous breaking balls, threw hard, and had, let's see, I got released after St. Patrick's Day. I remember it like it was yesterday. Then went back to independent because I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to hang it up yet. And I think one of the bigger reasons was I was naive to think 6'4" lefty, like it completely rare.
Yeah.
Like I was been told when I was in high school, like, dude, you're gonna make it. There's no way you can't. You're 6'4", you're lefty. Now, didn't help that I was like 165. I was complete beanpole. But it's so regardless, I went back to independent ball, got hurt, needed surgery, came back a year after. And I just started realizing why is this guy who's like 5'8", 5'9", throwing either a little bit harder than me or the same? It just didn't make sense. So I started just noticing how I threw. And I think this was around the time that cell phones had cameras. So I took the phone out and started recording myself throwing into a net. And I noticed, I was like, all right, how did I get this far? with this problem. Like, there's no way. And I started working on stuff. It was probably very, very weird at the time, but I would actually tape a baseball to my hand with athletic tape and go through my delivery. The biggest problem was I would stop. So very CC Sabathia-esque, where he'd get the ball out of his glove and he'd spike it, and then it would come up. I was doing it, and the reason why he was successful is because he stayed back. I got forward too soon, and my arm action was terrible, garbage. So I was like, all right, I was 30 years old by then. Like, there's no one from high school to 30, so 15 years, told me what I was doing wrong or what I could do better. Maybe it wasn't wrong because I had pretty decent numbers. So I guess they figured, and I think a lot of people now figure the same thing, is if it's not broke, why fix it? But I would just, when I talk to the young guys that I work with now, it's just like, there's no way. Like, you can always be better, regardless of what your numbers are. Let's now start thinking about potential. What is your ceiling? How far could I have gone if someone like myself, and I think I mentioned this in either the book or the ebook that's connected to it. What if I had myself telling me when I was 14, 15 years old, what I was doing wrong or what I could be doing a little bit better?
Yeah.
Like, how far could I have gone?
Right.
So that pushes me, that encourages me now to tell certain kids the honest, probably hard truth of, yes, your numbers are very good. You're throwing this hard. You have a good breaking ball, but I see a couple of flaws. You can fix them or you can't, or you don't. That's up to you. So that's kind of my bio in a quick synopsis.
Well, I like what you said there towards the end, because that was going to be my next question to you was, how did your beginnings, how did your history shape your philosophy as an instructor, as a coach now?
I think it was just realizing that regardless of how old you are, you can, well, especially the younger ones, they can change easier. And it's a lot harder to change someone who's 15, 16 years old, especially because now it is about velocity.
Yeah.
At that age, that's the one metric that's very easy to understand and to see and to notice is the radar gun. And I'm not even saying that the radar gun should be thrown to, or everything you do should be about velocity. But when you are doing things correctly or aggressively, then that's the result. So before we started recording, we talked about everybody now, especially young, the coaches want you to throw strikes. And they don't know how to teach throwing strikes. Because I asked my guys, 8, 9, well, probably not 8. They're just learning how to pitch. 9, 10, 11, how do you throw a strike? Have you ever been told how to throw a strike or told how to? And no, they haven't. How do you throw a strike? You throw it over the plate. You hit the catcher's mitt. Like, no. Don't tell me the definition of a strike. How do you do it? And then I ask, all right, how do you throw hard? Do you know how to throw hard? Yes. Then why don't you try? Because I don't throw strikes. Okay. Well, do you call yourself a decent hitter? Yes, I'm okay. Do you ever swing at bad pitches? Yes. Okay. Do the umpires that umpire your game, do they call bad pitches strikes? Yes, all the time. Then why do you need to throw a strike? Just be around the plate.
Yeah.
But also compete.
Yeah.
It's one of those two. Like, okay, when you hit, what are you trying to do? Are you just trying to hit the ball, or are you trying to hit the ball hard? Well, depending on the count, of course. I'm trying to hit the ball hard. Then why aren't you geared the same way on the mound? Throw hard, like, get ahead, of course. But then then be aggressive.
Yeah.
Compete. Like if you as a hitter was facing you as a pitcher, who would win? Probably the guy who's trying to be aggressive instead of just throwing a strike. I'm not saying strikes aren't good. Of course they are. But a lot of coaches, especially the rec coaches and dad coaches, they want them immediately. Like, dude, I'm 9 years old. I don't know what I'm doing. And you're asking me to do something that's, yes, if I have the skill, awesome. But it just seems like we're asking way too much of less than amateur players. They're just starting. So if you're going to ask them to throw a strike, at least teach them how to.
I'm going to flip that on you a little bit because I use kind of the same philosophy with my hitters, where I tell my hitters, especially the younger guys, 11, 12, the strike zone is not what we're worried about when we're hitting. We're not worried about the strike zone. What we're worried about is what we can barrel up. Okay, so if you can barrel up something that's a ball, two balls off the plate, well, that's a ball. So if you're gonna, you're gonna say, well, I didn't swing at it because it's off the plate, but
that's going to be a strike because it's of the umpire.
oh yeah,
The umpires aren't good at 11 and 12 years old. If they were, they'd be higher up.
right. But again, yeah, I mean, like you said, I'm taking the umpire out of the equation.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I don't want you worried about the umpire. I don't want you swinging at that pitch, a ball or two off the plate. I don't want you swinging at that because you think he's going to call it a strike. No, I want your approach to be, I'm swinging at it because I can barrel it up and I can drive it to right field. Okay, so kind of what you just said when a guy is pitching, just be around the plate.
Just be aggressive. Just compete.
Yeah.
I think that encapsulates a lot of different results.
Yeah.
Compete.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Well, so a couple of years ago, so when you have a good relationship with the kid that you're giving pitching lessons to, they trust you and they want to do hitting as well. So look, I wasn't a great hitter in high school. I batted in Double-A back when they had the DH when we were playing in an American League field. And I was terrible. I was 0 for 8. I think 7 strikeouts. These guys are throwing so hard, even back then. But it seems like a lot of these youth hitters, they wait to see if it's going to be a hittable pitch before they think about swinging.
Instead of yes, yes, no.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And it's amazing, especially in the cages, when the results really don't matter all that much. It's just how quickly they can go, all right, I want you to swing at every pitch until you see that it's not a good pitch to hit. And then it's almost like instantly there's better swings because they're not late. There's better body control because they're not late. They can be early, that's fine. I'd rather them early than late. At that point, it's just, all right, well, as you get older, if you're early, just make sure that you can maintain your balance.
But going back to what you were saying about competing. So again, I'll use pitching as an example, right? And this is a question. You have a guy that's on the mound and he's throwing for everything he's worth. He's, worried about his velo and he's trying to throw hard. Okay. And he's not competing. He's walking everybody, whatever. Aren't those guys better off dialing back a little bit? Because again, we're trying to compete. We're not trying to win an award for who throws the ball the hardest. What do you think?
Well, I think it depends on how he's trying to get the velocity. I think it's if he's pulling on his front side, then there's a flaw there where he's either getting forward too soon or the arm is a little slow behind him. So he's trying to compromise by the time when his front foot lands. So the throw, so it's a very simple, when you think about it, I would want I want my pitchers to pitch the way they throw. So instead, and you see it all the time to where they throw, let's say they're an outfielder, they're a shortstop. They do this when they have a certain throw when they play a position, and then it's completely different when they're on the mound. Then there's a flaw there. Like I said, it's either and the younger they are, it's usually both at the same time. It's usually they have a slow arm behind them, and then they're landing too early. And pick one or the other, fix that, and then go to the other. Because you fix one, you might be able to you fix a lot. But they all want it now. They want to be fixed. They want to, and it's not that easy. Just because you know what needs to be done doesn't mean it's going to get fixed.
Right.
Like you've been throwing this way for so long, like it's very hard to teach an old dog new tricks. So this is the main point why I wrote the book. What we're talking about right now, or the point I just made of sometimes these kids, they're too old to change. They've thrown too many pitches to now change. So I wrote an ebook in 2016, pitching ebook, and it went nowhere. And plus, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to market it. I'm not very good at the marketing part of it. Like, it's not exciting. Like writing and coming up with certain things and editing, that was fun. What I'm in now is not very fun.
Right.
Is trying to market it and try to get as many people to know about it as possible. So that ebook went nowhere. And then I was like, you know what? Let me try to get to the kids earlier. Let me try to get to them just so they listen to me. And I'm not trying to make a buck out of this book. It's the other stuff behind it that I want to make an impact on.
Yeah.
So I started writing the stories, and the idea of even the parents now reading the book, there's a story or two in there with like an overbearing father.
Yeah.
It's like he's yelling at the kid when they're and it's just like there's no way that kid is listening, to a father that wants results now. Like, no, the results don't matter.
Right.
It's how you get them.
The process.
Yeah. So okay. So going back to your question, I'm sorry. A pitcher that is, yeah, I would say I would go out and just talk to him and be like, dude, try to get hit within 3 pitches.
Yes.
Force them to put the ball in play in 3 pitches.
Yes.
And if you go strike 1, strike 2, awesome. Strike them out.
Right.
But you can't strike them out with 1 strike. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So yeah, correct. And that's one instance. There may be something going on.
Oh, sure.
But I don't think you go out there and you try to go, mechanical, fixes mechanics during the game.
Oh, God, no.
That's crazy. You just, dude, one, what are you doing? Just try to get hit within 3 pitches and see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, you'll hear me during a game. All right, put it in play. And, again, if a pitcher's struggling, I'm going to go out to the mound and never, ever talk about anything mechanical.
No.
Go out to the mound and I'll just say, geez, how's this working for you? It's not looking too good, They'll go, no, coach, this and that. I said, well, listen to me. You got 7 guys standing behind you. How about you give them a chance to play the game? So what do you think?
Right.
Maybe we pitch to contact. Maybe we put the ball in play and see what happens. Oh, okay, coach. And the whole dynamic changes.
Yes, it can. It can. I think it does help, though, if the coach that goes out and talks to him, or the one that he relies on, actually knows what his flaw is. All right, you're getting forward a little too soon. And again, I think if he's heard it in practice, if he takes lessons with you, I think it's a lot easier to temper the flaw that he has. Like, hey, remember 2 weeks ago we worked on this. I don't know what you did on your own time, but I think when you're done with this outing, I think we need to focus on this. It's not like, dude, you can't get upset with them.
Oh, of course not.
Can't yell and scream from the dugout, sitting on top of the bucket, or the cliche coach phrases of, hey, get ahead,
Yeah.
strike what, throw strikes, don't walk this guy. It's like, yeah, I know that. Don't tell me obvious things.
Right.
Tell me how to accomplish, or at least remind me how to accomplish what you're a better action. Forget about the result. Forget about the result, because that's the culmination of everything you do while the ball's still in your hand.
If a guy goes out, a guy who has been giving him lessons has been working with him, okay? Because if you tell him, like you said, you're landing too early. Let's just use that. If you worked on that with him in his lessons, well, now is all you did is you gave him, in other words, there's somewhere he knows to go to, because you've already worked with him on that particular thing, as opposed to, somebody who didn't work with him and go out and say, you're landing too early. Well, now what does a kid do? Now he
doesn't know how. What do you mean?
Exactly.
What does that mean?
Exactly.
Like I remember coaches telling me early on that I was dropping my elbow when I was throwing. No, what does that mean? Do you think I'm going all the way through and then I just drop for some reason? No. The reason why it looks that way is because I didn't give myself enough time to get my elbow up, or my arm was too slow to the point where it just didn't get up high enough by the time I landed. And usually, I think we talked about this earlier, usually both of those flaws are happening at the same time. So now it's a complete mess. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to fix it. So yeah, I in this day and age, though, with all the lessons being given and all of the, I wouldn't say group stuff. I think it's just the cliche phrases that even some reputable instructors and coaches, they get caught up and just saying the same things over and over. Do this, do that, instead of this is how you do it. Yeah. It's almost, I liken it to a teacher that just walks in on day one of when school starts and says, hey, I need you to make good grades. And then just walks out of the room. Instead of, this is how you study. This is how you manage your time. This is how you, go to the summary after each chapter. Before you even read the chapter, see what's in the summary, what the author of the book thinks is important, and then go back and read from page one. Like, what's important is if as a pitcher, throwing strikes is important, awesome. Then you're going to have to throw a lot of strikes. You're going to have to throw a lot of strikes with different pitches. And that's fine. We've seen many guys in the big leagues that are successful that way. Yep. Not everybody in the 90s and early 2000s threw 96, 97 miles an hour. There was actually very few of them. Most of them, Jamie Moyer, Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, they could throw hard if they wanted to, but
they didn't need to.
They were better off hitting the corners, movement, and mixing up their pitches, throwing backwards when they needed to.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. I kind of ran out of steam.
I like what you said about cliches. When you hear these coaches barking out these cliches, okay? I'm a big cue believer. But when I yell out a cue, that player knows what that means. Right. I'm not just saying it, like you said, the cliche of, hey, come on, let's throw strikes. What? Yeah, no. What is that? Whereas if I'm in the dugout and I say, okay, to my pitcher, I say, okay, look, right here, let's attack. He knows what that means. That's not telling him just throw strikes. It's telling him that I don't want to see any breaking balls. I want you to attack this hitter and just go at him. That's it. And they know that. It's not a cliche. It's cues to me are very powerful things to use with your players because it triggers in their mind what you taught them in practice.
Right. Well, one of the things I kind of got on a rant. I'm sorry,
No, that's
but
fine.
the idea of these kids taking so many lessons and they are dependent on the instructor telling them what's wrong, telling them, all right, you got to get your arm up, or you got to be. They don't learn what is wrong, or they don't, okay, step off the mound, take a deep breath. Why is your fastball missing up and arm side? Well, your arm is slow. Okay. Is it your arm's fault? Or are you just getting forward too soon? And you're not giving yourself enough time to get up. Excuse me. So I want to teach them that. Be your own pitching coach. Stop relying and looking over in the dugout for, stop looking for me to perfect you or to help you. Help yourself. But that takes time.
Right.
And I think it takes maturity. And sometimes it's very hard for me to sit on my exercise ball while I'm catching, because I catch my own lessons, and not say anything. I'll ask questions, but it's very hard sometimes. Sometimes I have to bite my lip and it's the same thing when I first see somebody throw. I've never worked with them before. I don't just jump on them and say, you've got this flaw and this flaw. Like, this guy will never come to me again.
Yeah.
It's like all this guy wants is to dwell on the negative. I ask a lot of questions.
Sure.
What are you trying to do? What's important to you? What other positions do you play? If you're an outfielder, then awesome. You know how to throw a crow hop. Okay? A crow hop is the most aggressive throw that we have on the field, correct? Can you do it on the mound?
No.
The upper body, no, but the upper body action. You can do that. You
Sure you
can't
can.
hop, of course, but the intention is the most important part. Okay, why is the outfielder, why does he have the ability to throw the ball the hardest? Well, because he has the longest or the farthest distance to throw. Yes. Okay. Is there a lot of pressure on him to throw a perfect throw? Probably not.
No.
But that's not one of the first objectives of that throw. The first objective is to throw the ball as hard as you can. And if you do throw them out with a good throw, awesome. That's the icing on the cake. But I don't need you to throw a strike. I need you to be aggressive, get the ball in as quickly as possible, or as aggressive as possible.
Right.
And I have a conflict in the new way that they're trying to teach crow hops, where it's get rid of the ball as early as possible instead of throwing the ball as hard as you can.
Interesting.
Because that helps me as a pitching instructor. That helps me with intention. So when I do teach how to or advise them, I'd want you to compete. Stop trying to throw strikes. Strikes is the result.
Right.
That happens 46 feet away, 50 feet away, 60 feet away.
Yeah.
Let's worry about what happens on the rubber while you still have the ball in your hand. If you're trying to throw hard, awesome. Let's go back to what is your intention from the outfield or when you play long toss, when you throw a long toss. And then can you have that same intention on the mound? And then you teach the control of that. Not the ball, but body control. How are you throwing the ball hard? Can that be repeatable? Can you repeat that? Then maybe we shouldn't throw that way. Maybe let's go. And again, the earlier that you can get to this and teach that, the better. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get in the ear of the younger kid, the younger parent, with the book. And then hopefully that will lead to other questions or them trying to get more information about what their objective should be to be a successful pitcher or any kind of athlete. Like it's very hard to win at any sport if you're not aggressive, if you're not trying to compete against the other person in front of you. So,
Well, I mean, I see it all the time, and I talk about it all the time. And you had alluded to it a little bit when you were talking about, players trying to do what their instructors gave them lessons to do or whatever. A lot of kids become paralyzed by that. Okay, and also what you just said about being aggressive. Players are also paralyzed from being aggressive by coaches, instructors, parents, everybody that's behind them. They get paralyzed by that, the fear of making a mistake. All right. So if you have a fear of making a mistake, then there is no way in hell that you could be aggressive. It just can't. They don't go hand in hand. They don't work together.
You learn so much by failure.
Sure.
I know that's almost like a cliche in all of professions, industry, life, but you do. There, so many people that have been successful after 15, 20, 30 failures. All you got to be right once. But yes, it's the way I think coaches and parents react to that failure that would paralyze them in the future to where it's just like, all right, what did you do wrong? What did you think? What do you think you did wrong? How do you think we can make it right? So later on, you're putting yourself in a better opportunity to succeed. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these kids, one, they just aren't strong enough to control what they're doing, to be aggressive. They're not aggressive in the correct way. So they're never told different. And the worst part, this was one of the stories of the two friends, the big kid and the little kid. The big kid, he's only successful. He does nothing right until he makes contact or until he throws the ball. He throws the ball harder. He hits the ball further. And the little guy, his little buddy, he's got to do everything mechanically sound because he has to.
Yeah.
And then once, a couple of years down the road, the little guy gets bigger, he gets stronger. He's going to be better off because of it. It's very hard to teach a big kid to do something better than what he's doing now because, again, he hits the ball further. He has success with what he's doing now. He doesn't think he needs the help.
I mean, I had a situation like that quite a few years ago. I had a kid, he was 13 going on 14, but he was like 6'1", maybe $180. He was a big kid, and he was only 13 going on 14. And he had a swing that was insanely bad. And, like you said, every once in a while he would run into a pitch and hit it, a country mile. To try and fix him, which I spent years trying to do, was very difficult. Very, very difficult.
It's almost like you wait for him to fail really bad. And then it was like, all right, that humbles you to the point where it's like, all right, I'll listen.
Yeah.
But again, it's tough. It really is tough because the parents don't listen because they don't want to tell their kid in another aspect of their daily life that they need to fix something. They have to do better in school. I need you to listen. I think you need to do your chores around the house a little bit better, blah, 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 whatever. There's not a lot of positives other than, wow, you hit the ball a country mile. You're awesome. This is great. But yeah, I mean, there's so many, there's an easy way. There's a soft way to say, you need to work better at this.
Yeah.
You don't have to just come out and say, God, these mechanics are brutal.
Yeah.
I'll do it sometimes just messing around with the kid.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
Like I am so sarcastic with some of my guys. It's fun. Yeah. And when I was in Jersey, sorry for those that are not from the North, that's New Jersey. When I was there, the kids could take it.
Yes.
Like, it's just even if they're from an affluent community or town, whatever, they could take it. when I came back down here a couple of years ago, back to North Carolina, wow, I got myself in trouble a couple of times.
Oh, really? Wow.
Well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't language or anything like that. It was just they didn't quite understand the sarcasm.
Right.
They didn't understand the bite that
Yeah.
sometimes what I got accustomed to getting away with up there, they weren't used to an adult saying that to them, I think.
Yeah.
So I had to tone it back a bit. But um, yeah, I parents play such a huge role in the mental aspects of dealing with failure because this game, it's unreal, the cliche of, the game of failure. And baseball is one of the biggest. And sometimes, I said something about cliche, but this is such a true cliche where when you hit 350, you fail 65% of the time, or you didn't get on base or whatever, or you didn't get a hit. And that's considered Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
If you miss 65% of your shots in the NBA, you're never getting there.
Right.
You're never getting another. So the failure and dealing with it. So when you have that pressure and then whatever outside environment pressure that you're getting from either your coaches, the other players, which is probably not common, but the parents play a major role in that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, let's face it. I've always said this. I said it for many, many years. Part of our job is to educate parents. It's a big part of our job because I always look at it. If I can make a parent understand, what we're doing, what works, what's correct. If we can make them understand, then they become an ally. They become almost like an assistant coach, and they can help you.
If they can understand that and take it home with them, and then encourage them the same way that what we say or our philosophies, I think you would see a lot. It would be more enjoyable situation in the dugout.
Right.
Where when the kid strikes out, he's not coming, he's not crying, he's not throwing his bat or helmet. He's not upset with himself. It's just like, all right, this is what I did. This is what just happened. I need to work on that, or I need to be a little bit more aggressive earlier in the count. Or let's say if you're 13, 14, you know what? I'm not a very good curveball hitter. So I'm not going to miss the fastball.
Right.
I'm going to hit the fastball before he gets into, because at that point, 13, they're throwing in patterns.
Yeah. Oh,
They're not
absolutely.
throwing curveball first.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the main things that I encourage that a lot. Stop throwing in patterns. 3-0 count to the number 3 hitter with a man on second. What are you throwing? Fastball, because I got to throw a strike. No.
Yeah.
Throw a breaking ball.
Yeah.
Because if you walk him, who cares?
Right. Right.
That was eye-opening.
Yeah.
When I first told a couple of kids that. It was like, what, you want me to walk him? No, I don't want you to walk him.
Yeah. I
don't want you to give up a double off the wall with a fastball right down the middle because you think you can't walk him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and
failing,
you just
at that point, failing is not failing.
No, it's a strategy.
Correct. I didn't want you to get 3-0. I'm sure you didn't either.
Yeah.
But we're here now.
Yeah.
So let's make the most of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've had 3 curveballs thrown in a row, strike him out because the kid, he didn't know it was happening.
Yeah.
He's never faced that before.
Yeah. And you just hit the nail on the head for something that I do with my hitters. 3-0. I don't have a take sign.
No.
You're not taking 3-0. I mean,
absolutely.
Pitch comes in, let her rip. Okay. Obviously if it's over your head or it's in the dirt, no. But you got something you could barrel up. I want you swinging 3-0 because again, even at the
He's
height.
trying to throw a strike. Well, I would tell him that at 2-0. I've seen so many games where 2-0 take. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Swing.
Why as a coach would you want that? I want my guys to hit.
Yeah.
I don't want them to sit back and wait for a strike.
Yeah. Yeah.
Find something you can hit. 2-0, they're gonna throw a fastball. Yeah, put yourself in a better situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I tell a lot of the younger guys now, it's like, you're not seeing a lot of breaking balls now, right? No. Well, don't get used to that. because as you get older, you're going to see breaking balls. So hit fastballs.
Yeah.
You should be a better fastball hitter now
Yeah.
at 9, 10, 11.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's going to take you a couple of years to figure out how to hit a breaking ball.
Yeah. I mean, I don't believe you should swing at a breaking ball until you have to. That's it. You're hunting fastballs, period, the end. All right? Until you get in a situation where if he throws me a breaking ball, I got to be able to hit it. So you're not swinging at them until you have to.
That's why a changeup is probably the best pitch in baseball.
Right.
Because
Everything's the same.
Not a lot of people are, it's coming out of the same window. He looks like he's throwing it just as hard as he was going to his fastball. So you see guys, they don't throw as hard when they throw their changeup. And I was like, their arm speed, like, what are you doing?
Yes.
It's the same grip as your fastball. You just don't throw it as hard? No. Your fastball 3 years ago, when you could barely hold the ball, should be your changeup because you used 3 fingers because your hands were so small, you couldn't hold it with just 2.
Right.
Okay. Or you get these kids that are trying to throw their circle change with a 9-year-old hand. It's like, dude, there's no way that's comfortable.
They can't do it. They can't do it.
Then don't do it.
They can't do it.
But I was told that this is the right way. Yeah, if you're a grown man.
Yeah.
If your hands were bigger, absolutely. Throw it with all your hands. I don't care.
Yeah.
All fingers.
Yeah.
But just throw it as hard as you can. Let the grip. And they just don't understand anything other and I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Like I don't blame some of the coaches that I had because that's the way they were coached.
Yeah.
And I don't know when this phenomenon happened where it became, instead of a team aspect of win, of you do your job better. Let's worry about what you do. The second baseman is going to worry about what he does. And the development and success of each position and player is going to lead to a better team. I don't know, with the lessons and stuff. I remember when I guess in college, I came back and there was a guy, I guess, that just got released from pro ball and he started giving lessons. And my head coach did not like that at all. Like that was the mentality of way back then, 91, 92, which was a long time. It was 30 years ago. Where, they just didn't quite understand. Like, I'm supposed to teach you how to play baseball. You're a high school coach. And that is nowhere close to being true now. Not even close.
What do you mean? I'm confused. What do you mean by that?
I don't know when the personal development thing happened.
I got you.
You know what I mean? Like, when did the lessons start?
I got you.
What was it? Bartman? What's his name up in Jersey? I can't remember. He was part of, he started the whole, or at least in that region.
What, the USA Baseball?
Tournament. Who?
The USA Baseball stuff? No, not Andrew Bartman.
No. I don't remember. But
oh, I know who you're talking about. Joe Barth.
Barth, yes.
Yeah. Who was on this show, by the way.
Oh, it was.
He was.
That would be an interesting. I'll have to listen to that.
Yeah.
Because whatever he did was pretty much pioneered what it's become now. I think it's the whole the recruiting or I guess it would have been the exposure that kids are getting now.
Yeah.
He kind of started that in Jersey, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's changed. So what was the exposure back then was American Legion.
Yes.
And now it seems like, when the club teams and all the exposure with all the stuff that was very good, it's turned to almost it's gone backwards somewhat to the point where everybody has a team, and it's kind of watered down to the point where it's back to American Legion.
Yeah.
It's
worse. It's worse.
worse. Yeah.
American Legion used to be, all of the best players on several high schools in an area. So those teams
Yes.
were good.
Very good.
Now travel baseball, there's a few good teams, and the rest of them are average nothing.
But it's almost as if they create a team so 2 or 3 players on that team can play.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So the only thing I like about that is the fact that you're giving kids opportunities to continue to play.
Yes.
Like if they want to play, go ahead. Here at Coastal, they have a thing where it's team effort, where the kids that are almost lower than they just haven't come into themselves yet.
Yeah.
They make a lot of physical mistakes because they either got into it too late or
nobody's
their
teaching them.
bodies just don't work as they're not as mature as they should be at their whatever. And they've had a lot of success with that here, where they're giving kids a lot of opportunities, a lot of kids the opportunity to be coached. So they train a little more often than their normal teams. They play on the field a little bit, with less pressure.
Yeah.
The stress of having to succeed is a little lower. I think that helps development. And there's been a couple that would jump onto their travel team pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
Once they did develop.
I just started a whole program based on what you just said.
Yeah.
Completely based on it. I wouldn't say that I want, but when you start a new program, okay, let's face it, most of the better talented kids are playing on other teams already. So they're not going to jump ship and come and play, for my program. So I'm getting all of the kids that were getting beat up, sitting on the bench, getting cut, and all of this stuff. And I said, you know what? Let's bring them on. I don't care what age you are. Come, we're gonna teach you how to play the game, because as well as I know, again, at that age, they're 11, 12, 13. We don't know what they're going to be like when they're 18.
No.
You have no idea.
No.
So let's teach them.
If you didn't reach them, they'd be done after their 12-year.
Exactly.
That's a typical drop off anyway.
Yeah.
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 No, I think that's great.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't have tryouts. I don't have cuts. You want to play, you come and play. I keep the cost down. I want to try and keep it as cheap as I possibly could, because people are in this area are paying up to $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a year for the kid to play baseball, which to me is ridiculous.
It is.
But anyway, it's not about me. Let's keep.
No, it is a wild investment that some of these parents are, and I think it would be such a better opportunity if they just understood how to handle their kids themselves, and not to badger them about why'd you make this mistake, or like, how do you feel what you did? Are you happy with that? Do you know what you did? Just work on the mentality of it.
Yeah.
I know there's certain coaches that are, mental coaches or success coaches out there. It's just these your kid. Your kid inside and out. Why would you approach sports different than you would anything else?
Good point.
Why would you be so hard on them? Like, if there's something that you don't understand, then you find out.
Yeah.
And I think that's the case.
Yeah.
Where you have a lot of guys, a lot of parents that don't know the game themselves. So they're just spitting out cliches as well.
Yeah.
Instead of, all right, let me try to find out the resources that will help me help you.
Yeah.
So a gift in the book was, I did a thing with, think and throw the pitch. So these were 13 principles, and we're going back a couple of years ago. I read Napoleon Hill. He wrote a book so he did some research where he was sitting down and having interviews with some of the most prominent figureheads in business and it didn't matter what industry it was. And he came up with 13 different principles that most of them had. Perseverance, faith in what they were doing. I can name them, there's 13 that most all of them had. So I kind of flipped it on what a parent could do or certain things that they could get better at to influence their support for development of their kid. So that's, if you buy the book or the Kindle or whatever on Amazon, that would be the free gift of, thank you for your support, blah, blah, blah. This may help you, when you want such lofty goals from your kid, or your kid wants these lofty goals, this may help.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I just think there's so many different influences that, steers a kid one way or the other.
Yeah.
And if you could be one of the positive ones, then you're putting him in a much better place.
I mean, that's what it's all about, right?
Yes.
Again, this year I've seen it, this past fall, I saw it more so because I haven't been involved with players that young in many years, many years. And, I saw the parents and how they were reacting. And, the parents are like, they'd come up to me and say, oh, geez, he made 4 errors today. I don't know what's in his head. We're going to talk about it. And I would say to the parent, I would say, no, I said, I'm going to tell you what happened there. He's 12. That's what happened. He's 12. Right. That's it. Okay. And if you want to look for blame anywhere, I said, use me. I said, because I'm the coach. So if he made 4 errors in a game, then obviously I'm not drilling him enough on what he needs to be doing for ground balls. It's on me. Leave that kid alone. And the parents will look at me and they'll be like, holy crap, I never heard anything like that before. And I'm like, well, it's the truth. He's 12. He's going to make errors. He's going to strike out. He's going to make mistakes. All of this stuff. We got to build him up, not, on the way home, ask him, why'd you make 4 errors today? What happened?
Because I wanted to, Dad. Yeah, I wanted to.
Exactly.
That's obvious. Like, I don't want to make errors. I don't want to be thrown out at the plate. I don't want to strike out. I didn't mean to walk those 5 guys or hit that one guy in the back. Like, stop with the obvious stuff.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
It is frustrating. But when you talked about, it's been a while since you worked with the younger kids, I'm completely flipped. It's been a while since I've worked with any of the older guys.
Yeah.
Because they look at you sometimes when I tell them something, because they've had 6-7 years of instruction from someone else, that this is the first time that they probably heard something.
Oh yeah.
So obvious.
Oh yeah.
Wrapped in common sense. Like, they look at you like you have 3 heads.
Yeah.
So I'd rather be someone's first instructor.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'd rather take the impact. I'd rather be the first than one of the last.
I had a high school kid tell me, this is going back a couple of years, we were doing leads off third base. And, we're going through how I want it done and this and that. And he couldn't get it. So I said, all right, no big deal. Try it again. Finally, he comes over to me and says, you know what, coach? He says, I don't like the way you do this. And my reaction, I'll tell you, wasn't very good.
Hold on. How old's the kid?
He was a high schooler. So what was he?
Okay.
15, 16?
Right.
I don't like the way you do this, coach. And I went off the wall. I don't give a crap what you like. You get your ass over it, So to your point.
8-year-old, yeah, but if an 8-year-old would have said that, it's funny.
Exactly.
Right. I would have had a chuckle or, whatever. I would told him to sit out maybe a couple minutes.
Right.
But yeah.
So to your point, I agree with you. It's much harder working with older kids. Again, we get them where they're still getting on their front side when they're hitting. Okay. That makes my head want to explode, because now I have to take these kids and try and get them to stay behind the baseball, but they've been hitting that way for 10 years, maybe longer.
It's harder to train something out of them than it is to train them from scratch.
Exactly.
And I mean, you can't go out there and hit and hit. And well, I guess you could. But there's other athletic actions that you can implement that would give you the same action.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many times where I'll do drills. And the good thing that I did up in Jersey a couple of years ago was I created a non-throwing program.
Mm-hmm.
So the month, you know this, being in the Northeast, November. So when are you guys usually done? Early October, middle October?
This year we finished up the week before Halloween.
Okay. So the third week, got it. And then you have all of November off,
Yep.
usually.
And
And then
December.
you probably have your guys start throwing maybe mid-December or after the new year?
After the new year.
After the new year. So that's 2 months of them doing nothing.
Yes. And that's what I want, believe it or not.
No, I understand that. I don't want them throwing either.
Yeah. I don't want them doing anything. I'd go play
Uh,
basketball. And we'll
Basketball?
yeah, we could talk about that.
All right. But I think you could do both. You could. So my thing was, all right, because there was no one in the facility at that point. I mean, our teams came in and started hitting again in December. And again, I think that's very early, but you work around it. And again, it's hitting.
Right.
And they came in if they wanted to. We're not forcing anyone to. But it was one of those things where it was kind of like I'm sitting on the outside and just flipping balls from the bucket, wanting to teach guys not just how to pitch, but the actions needed to have a little bit more control of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I created a program that was non-throwing until probably the second week of December. So you're going, and again, it was just tossing, and it was a group thing. So I think it was like a group of 6 or 8, and it was my first, I think it was 2015. And then, so I got these kids together. They were practically the same age, same skill level. I sent them down. They were on my team, so that helped. So they trusted me. Their parents trusted me. And so we went through it. I learned a lot, and that was when I learned, all right, there's 2 things that lead to either the success or failure of a thrower. There's 2 things. That's it. It's not that complicated. It's what their arm does, and then it's how they get forward. So it's their upper body, lower body. That's it. Everybody's been taught where you should be when your front foot lands, your power position. I don't care what position you play. Catcher, they're shorter because their throw is more time sensitive. Second baseman, he usually has the weakest arm anyway, but he's the closest to first base.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to throw hard. He's kind of a little shorter. Outfield and pitcher should be deeper.
Definitely.
They're breaking down instead of out.
Definitely.
So it was one of those like, all right, put all these kids together at the same time, and you see it, and they're like a light bulb. And I was the cliche coach before that. But I was like, all right, what can I do to make my job easier? Instead of telling them a lot of stuff that's probably very hard to either understand and especially do,
Yeah.
can we simplify it? All right, what is your arm doing? How are you getting forward? So put it together. And for the last 10 years, that's all I teach. How can you do that? And if you can't do one, you're going to have to compromise. So I'd lay it all on the table. If you can't stay back, you cannot have a slow arm.
Yeah.
I'm going to drill you like crazy. So whatever's the worst flaw or the slowest, or let's say, if your arm's really slow behind you, I'm going to teach that out of you. I have to, because I can.
Yeah.
And then it just got simpler because they didn't dwell on the crap that you do to just, blow time.
Right.
I'm not here to just fill time. I'm here to try to teach it out of you.
Well,
Um,
I love.
and I have a real problem. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say I love what you just said about keeping it simple. Okay, because I'm not a pitching guy. I'm more of a hitting guy. Okay, and I believe that people overcomplicate. I really believe that to hit, no, hitting is, how do I put this? The concept of hitting is simple. Hitting is hard, okay, because of, you're hitting a moving ball, the pitcher's throwing all kinds of stuff that you don't know what's coming and whatever. Right. So hitting is hard. But the way to hit, to me, the simpler you make it, the more successful the hitter's going to be. Don't try and overcomplicate. So I'm agreeing with what you said with pitching. Simplify it.
Right, simplify it. All right, so I had this debate. So a couple of years ago here at Coastal, we started a podcast. It was me, one of the owners, and Mike Rooney. So it's Fletcher Bates, myself, and Mike Rooney. Mike Rooney, I guess, is his top instructor, whatever. So we started a podcast, Pine Tar and Rosin. So trying to get a grip on all things baseball. So pine tar for hitters, rosin. Well, I guess a couple of pitchers have tried to use pine tar, but they got caught. And then rosin for pitchers. So trying to get a grip. So we had a debate, or I'd started the debate of which is harder, hitting or pitching. And of course, you're a hitting guy, so you're going to say hitting. So in that sense, shouldn't the failure be less intense? Because it's such a hard thing. It's considered one of the hardest things in sport, all of sport, is hitting a baseball. Yeah. Like you said, hitting a round ball with a round bat. You don't know what the pitcher's throwing. They're throwing breaking balls. They're throwing 100 miles an hour. My take is, and I guess probably the younger you are as a pitcher, the harder it is, to control yourself. Because as a hitter, it's the hardest thing to do in baseball. You're going to fail.
Yeah.
Psychologically, mentally, it's easier for me as a hitter to fail than it is for a pitcher to go out and throw 60% balls in 3 innings. I'm feeling worse as a pitcher coming off the mound when I completely sucked than I do if I strike out 3 times as a hitter.
Yeah.
So which is harder? Which is harder on the mental aspect of that player?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, I would agree with you there. On the mental side, the pitcher has got a lot more to deal with because he's pitch after pitch after pitch.
And he's supposed to throw strikes. He's doing this. You don't see a lot of big league guys that would have that type of breakdown.
Yeah. I mean, if you get up 3 times in a game, you got 2-3 innings in between those at bats. You got plenty of time to let that go away. Pitcher, it's pitch after pitch after pitch. You got to be on.
And look, as a pitcher, you're asked to do one thing multiple times. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the easy part. Like you say, hitting is simple until you have to face a pitcher.
Exactly.
Pitching is simple until you get on the mound.
Yeah.
I'll see a complete change from guys throwing flat ground. And then as soon as they get on the mound,
yes,
some virus is in them. And now they're falling all over the place.
Yeah.
They're not repeating their actions, so they're falling either forward, like I'm going to bunt on them.
Right.
Like there's a squeeze play every time. They're falling glove side, so lefty's falling towards third, righty's falling towards, all right, which is not good. And we talked about this earlier before we recorded. Just repeat. At some point, it is what it is.
Bingo.
It is what it is.
Yes.
Just repeat.
Just repeat.
And if you can't repeat, then just recognize you're going to have a tough time on the mound.
Yeah.
So it goes to, all right, off season, or let's say postseason. So your postseason, especially in the Northeast, is rest.
Yeah.
Play another sport.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lift. You can lift.
Right. Yeah. Then you have off season. Off season is when you're like you said, lifting. You're trying to get back into the swing of things for your preseason.
Yep.
And then you have in season. So if I'm instructing someone out of a flaw in the off season, you only have so much time before it is what it is. And now we're training in preseason for your season.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not asking you to change anymore. Like, you had enough time to do that. And if you really were committed to it, you would have done a lot more on your own. And that's another thing as coaches we're responsible for. We're not responsible for coaching them when we're with them. We're responsible for giving them things to do on their own.
Yes.
Where they can recognize, and it's almost like being a great teacher. I'm not teaching you history. I'm trying to inspire you to find out more about history. So our job is to inspire, and so they realize, all right, if I do this, I can now do this. My result's going to be better. My mental is going to be better. I'm going to be a happier kid on the mound. I'm going to shake it off a little easier when I fail, when I walk the guy. I'm going to think a little bit more. I'm going to step off when I throw 2 balls in a row to the same hitter. I'm going to think about what I'm doing. I'm going to get back in the groove. I'm going to lessen. I'm going to minimize my slumps because I know how I got into it and I know how to get out of it. But that's like it's an advanced philosophy. It takes a mature kid, but it also takes the commitment from either from the coach or the instructor.
Absolutely.
It's like, look, I care about your development. I care about what you want and how you're going to get it. The worst part about dealing with an older kid is when they get desperate to be noticed, when
Sure.
they get desperate to throw the velocity that they've been told that's going to get them to a school that they want to go to. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate the desperate because they're putting themselves now at risk because they're getting velocity. They may get the velocity they want, but they're getting it from the wrong actions. And now that's putting themselves at risk. Yeah.
So we're nearing the end here, and I want people to go out and get Andy's book, okay, Baseball Lessons for Life. It's a great book because what it does is it tells like a 2-3 page story about a player and what that player experienced. And then once that story is over, there's actions for the player, actions for the parents that they can take, questions that ask them, what were you thinking here, and that type of stuff. Okay. It's a very powerful book. So I want everybody to go out there and get that book, especially parents. Go out there and read that book because it'll help you understand what we're trying to do as coaches. It'll help you understand it better. So, Andy, if you could leave the parents and the younger athletes out there with one piece of wisdom, what would you say?
I think if it's the goals and aspirations that you want for either as the kid, for what he wants for himself, what he wants to achieve, and what the parent wants him to achieve or wants to see a happy kid, then it takes more resources than what you're getting right now. There's always somewhere else to read. There's always other things that you can do to affect the impact or to be an impact. A lot of these kids, and it really doesn't matter, and you see it all the time, where you may have a parent that knows, a father that knows the game, but the kid doesn't listen to him.
Of course not.
Will not listen to him.
No.
And the only way that the parent, the father gets retribution would be if you as a coach or an instructor agrees with him, or if they have the same philosophy.
Yeah.
I think it's really, it's the actions. It's the actions mean more than the result.
Yeah.
Just because a kid doesn't make good grades now doesn't mean he's going to be a failure. Just because there's things that you can do you can improve, like give him more time, get him off the PlayStation or whatever. Just because he's not a good player now at 11 and 12 doesn't mean he can't reach whatever goal he has later on. But you have to prove it.
Yeah.
The kid has to prove it. The parent, whatever his dream was or her dream, whatever they wanted to do, did they put enough time into to being a better whatever?
Right.
Like when you said the shortstop or whatever made 4 errors. What did he do the week before that, ground ball wise?
Yeah.
To make sure that, all right, maybe it's only 2 errors.
Yeah.
Or, he struck out 3 times last week. What did he do? What did he change? What did he work on?
Yeah.
And it has to be a consistent thing. It can't just be, oh, okay, I worked an hour yesterday or last week, and I only struck out once this week. Right. So I'm not going to do anything coming up.
Right.
It's like, if you want to make better grades, what are you going to do?
Study.
Are you going to, so just common sense. I think a lot of parents, they're so biased where it's their kid only, where they don't recognize everything else. And I know as a coach, you've gone through when a parent may come to you and talk about playing time. And you want to teach the parent, look, do not mention another player. When you come to me and talk about playing time, you're only asking what your kid can do to get better at a situation where it warrants him the opportunity to play in a position that he wants to.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, if you want to play shortstop and you're a right fielder, like not only do you have to put yourself in a position to deserve time at shortstop, but the shortstop has to, he's got to do something that warrants him not playing shortstop.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where you're better off learning from the very beginning. So there's no prerequisite. I'll say one of the biggest things. So attached to the book is a QR code that gives you not only that free gift of the think and throw the pitch. Sorry, but there's also 2 ebooks, or maybe 3. Maybe there's just 2 on the website. I'm creating more. So the free gift of the Think and Throw the Pitch, I'm actually extending to go a little bit more detail. And then I want to start almost like a coaching. So it's a group coaching service and then a one-on-one.
Yeah.
Where we're attacking not only the physical, but also the mental side of it and how you as a parent. So it's almost, I enjoy teaching the parents more than I sometimes just a kid.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I agree with you 100%.
You're hitting both.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. If you're hitting one, you're hitting the both. So I just want to make sure that I want to negate the regret that some parents might have.
Yeah.
You know, they learn a lot with their first kid.
Yeah.
And then if they have younger ones, it's like, and you try to make amends, but if you can negate the regret, if you can be their support system that they need early on, I think it helps everything.
I agree.
When you come into a team situation indoors, you don't have to be right up against the net.
Yeah.
You can give them some freedom. You don't have to yell at them during games.
Yeah.
You don't have to find an excuse to go to the dugout and give them a Gatorade or water.
Exactly.
Like, have that in their bag at the beginning. Like, stop, cut the cord, stop being the helicopter parent, and just go away.
Yeah.
Go away.
Yeah.
Let somebody else. But if you're confident enough with them and what you provided for them early on, because you are their first instructors.
Yeah.
You teach them how to throw a ball when they're I don't know.
4, 3, 4,
Yeah.
whatever.
3,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, I'm not saying, you should put them here when they're still in diapers or, put them in the right position, but like you're going to encourage it.
Yeah.
Don't encourage the result without teaching the actions that got them there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be my main thing.
Great. All right, Andy, look, I gotta tell you, I can't thank you enough. I think this was a great show, a lot of good information, and thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right, Andy, enjoy the rest of the day.
Yes, sir. You too.
So now you've heard from Andy High of Coastal Athletics in Wilmington, North Carolina, and also the author of the book, Baseball Lessons for Life. I would encourage you to go out and get the book. I read it cover to cover. It's a series of anecdotes that will help people better understand what we're trying to achieve as youth baseball coaches and high school coaches and parents. It's all stuff that'll help you better understand the game. Andy shared his thoughts, his philosophies, how he coaches the game, his beliefs, and a lot of good stuff there that might help you understand what we're trying to achieve. So if you're in the Wilmington area, check out Coastal Athletics. Get your kid a lesson with Andy, and I'm sure that by doing so, it'll help your player to be the best that he can be. So, if you enjoyed today's show, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Visit the website at thectbshow.net. Listen to your favorite episodes, and please leave us a review. You can also reach out to the show on social media, X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and get this, the old man has finally got us on TikTok. Keeps me young. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover, please drop us an email at clearingthebases@gmail.com. Your feedback helps us bring you the best content and reach more people in the baseball community just like you. And also, let me know if you'd like to be a guest. Until then, coaches and players, keep practicing, stay positive, and remember, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Thanks, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.